Viewers of Love Island went wild for her track Lost Without You.
Brit-nominated rising star Freya Ridings!
Hi Toby, thank you so much for having me. So Lost Without You is such a funny one because I knew the moment I wrote it that it was going to change my life.
Anyone heard of Peppa Pig?
My dad is the voice of Peppa's dad, Daddy Pig.
And I will start tomorrow.
The story with Castles was they sat me down and they were like, so we've booked you a trip to LA. And I was like, LA? I was like, I've never left my hometown. I haven't gone anywhere before.
Welcome to another episode of Songs You Know, and today we are filming in a special location called Starfish Loves Coffee in North London. And my guest today is so iconic, I don't even think I need to introduce you, but for the few people who don't know who this is, Freya Ridings. She had some incredible songs that you can't get out of your ear that are so beautiful, that can make you cry, that can make you dance and love.
Oh.
Yes.
Hi Toby, thank you so much for having me. Honestly, it's an honor. Thank you for having me on your podcast. I'm so in awe of it and I've loved watching the episode so far, so thank you for having me.
It's an honor.
Yeah.
So the songs that you must know, and we will talk about also in detail, are Lost Without You, massive smash, and Castles, so
Yeah.
nice, and Weekends, So Fucking Lonely. That should be the subtitle, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
It's so
I swore in a
bare-bones
song.
honest.
I know.
Yeah. I love
Yeah.
how you sneak that in there, like somewhere in the middle, and
Just
it's just okay.
everyone gets to
You're
the
like
stage where you
really
just put a
lonely.
swear word in a song, but yeah.
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 Yeah, age 23, you did your first headline tour with supporting Lewis Capaldi, Tears for Fears.
That was an incredible year. I feel like at 22, I was literally still playing like open mic nights in this actual cafe in North London. I was playing around that corner on my little sort of toy piano, playing Lost Without You and songs that hadn't been released yet to like a tiny group of people. And then at 23,
Yeah.
I was suddenly like signed and supporting Lewis Capaldi, and Tears for Fears was like such a cool support.
Tears of Happiness.
Literally tears of joy.
Yeah.
And that was at the Royal Albert Hall, which is one of my favorite venues ever. So it was quite a
insane
transformative time in my life.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, so tell me about this venue, this location, why we are here today.
So thank you for joining me. So I'm a North London girl. I was born and raised in Palmer's Green, which is where this cafe is. And I've lived here for 28 years of my 30 years of life. And the Palmer's Green music scene, the kind of North London music scene, like really helped shape me as a songwriter and a performer. And I think like the camaraderie of the people that you meet at these like open mic nights, and it just helps you build confidence as a songwriter and as an artist when you don't have a record label, you don't have that infrastructure.
Yeah.
So I still like to kind of like come back to places like this and kind of like give them a shout out when I can, because I'm like, they were there for me when I didn't have anyone supporting me. So yeah, very grateful.
You still live in this area. It's your
Yeah,
area of
it's my
choice.
local, but it's like I still, travel a bit. So I'm not always here, but
Yeah.
it's nice when I come back.
And
to
you're
see
still
my
close
family.
to your family.
Yeah, my
yes.
family still live here, so it's nice to come and visit them here. So
Shall we go back to the beginning?
yeah.
Was the first time you heard a song where you wanted to sing? How old were you?
So like my parents are quite musical. My dad especially, like I come from a family of actors, but I feel like my dad's true love is music, and the guitars just around the house are just endless. There's so many guitars, and he was always like playing acoustic guitar, singing like John Martin and Carole King, like songwriters of the 70s were like
Yeah.
his big thing.
Wow.
And so I grew up watching how much he loved it, and I was just like, wow, maybe I'll give that
So
a
was he
go.
also a performing musician or mostly an actor?
100% an actor, but at home he would always he did write a song for a film once. I think that the soundtrack of a film, but he's a brilliant voiceover art. He's just got a wonderful voice, but music is his real passion. And so he would talk about songwriting around the kitchen table, and my mum's a great writer and storyteller, so
Perfect
we'd all
match, storyteller, writer, and actor.
I feel very lucky that I grew up with that kind of knowledge around me, because otherwise I wouldn't have learned so much about it so young.
But maybe intimidating too. Like if the parents
A
are
little bit.
so
I remember thinking I was going to like
established.
rebel and be like a vicar or like an accountant or something, like the opposite of like
I'm
doing
gonna be
something
a
creative.
rebel, I'm going to be an accountant.
I know.
Whoa.
And I was like awful at maths. and I'm not very religious, so I was like, okay, maybe I'll give music a go. And I did when I was sort of between the ages of like 7 to 9.
Yeah.
I started like learning music by ear, and my mum helped me learn a few chords, and my
Nice.
dad helped me learn a few chords on the guitar. But I really struggled to read the music. So when I did music lessons, they were like, this girl's hopeless. And I was like,
Same, like reading 2 lines of these funny little dots and translating that into music.
they're like
I
little
was never able to
squiggles.
do it.
I'm in awe. Like when people can read music, I'm like,
Yeah.
amazing. But I don't know about you, but it's like when you can't do that, you almost have to train your ears to hear the music and then play it just from.
Yeah, my piano
know,
teacher, I had
right.
one for like, I don't know, 3 lessons, and
Yeah.
she played it, and then I tried to remember it. I tried to I pretended I was reading,
Yeah.
but
you
there's
just
no way I
remembered
could
it.
read. I just
Yeah.
remembered what she played and played it, and she was happy.
I just don't get it. I was like, if you can reduce something by memory, why does that not count? Like,
Yeah.
it does. You can still play the piece. But for me, that was actually such a heartbreaking thing in the moment. But then it led me to write my own songs because I couldn't learn other people's. They wouldn't teach me them. So I was like, I'll
Yeah.
write my own. And that's where it kind of began.
So that is also a condition, right?
Oh, yes, dyslexia. I was diagnosed with it when I was, I think, about 9 or 10 years old. And everything just made sense after that because I felt so academically like I wanted to do well and I just never did.
Yeah, and it does not, I read it, I just Googled what dyslexia is, and I probably have it too. It says it does not affect intelligence. It's
God.
very smart people.
I felt so
Yeah.
dumb at school, but my mum was like, no, there's different kinds of intelligence. And I'm so glad she did that. Yeah.
That's great. We're just slow with like deciphering
Spelling.
and yeah.
Thank God you don't have to be a good speller to be a good songwriter.
Yeah, I feel my brain's always a jumble of different lines. They
Yeah.
reconnect in different forms, and that it's great for songwriting.
How beautiful is that?
Yeah.
It's like, like sometimes you're reading a page and you start like in the middle and then you go to the bottom and then I start at
Yeah.
the top. It's like you just jump around.
Exactly, yeah.
But it kind of makes sense.
That's
I love
funny.
that. I feel like a lot of the greatest songwriters I've worked with have been dyslexic or learnt music by ear, and it just gives me a lot of confidence.
Yeah, it's
because
a superpower.
I don't think that
And dyslexic.
younger people know that like it's actually like it is a superpower.
Yeah.
Because I remember thinking it was like the end of the world, and then
Yeah.
suddenly I was like, wait, I think this music seems to be the one place I can actually like express myself in a kind of beautiful way. That
Yeah,
feels
it
right.
shifts your energies into somewhere else where it helps
Exactly.
you solve puzzles of
It's puzzles.
melodies and words.
I feel that. Yeah.
Yes.
Songwriting is just a big puzzle.
It is.
Yeah.
Yes, and we wrote some wonderful songs together.
I love the songs we've written together too. I literally can't wait for people to hear them because I think the little snippets I put out online like have been gone down really, really well.
Yeah.
And they come from like a really true and honest place. And you're so good at getting people to like get to the heart of
So
what they really think and
I
feel.
asked you about love,
Yeah,
and you told me the whole story of the love of your life,
I did.
how you missed each other,
Mm-hmm.
and then you were ready for him, and he wasn't ready for you.
Yeah.
And he was ready for you, you weren't
Yeah.
ready for him. But deep down, you've always loved him.
I did. Yeah.
It's such a great story.
It's such a beautiful way that you have with people. I think of like getting them to like the vulnerability to like open up. I feel like
Yeah.
a lot of songwriters are just like, what do you want to write about today? And you'll be like, oh, something easy. But you kind of go for like, what's the thing that you really
I was
want
just-
to say but can't?
I was
and
so
like,
intrigued
I
with your
guess this.
story. I wanted to know what's next. What's next? Keep telling.
Thank you.
And it had so
What-
many twists and turns.
I think it was Valentine's Day as well that we wrote that on. So
Yeah.
it was kind of just a love in the air day. But I love playing it. I can't wait to release it. Yeah.
Amazing. Great. So I want to dig a little bit into the songs you're known for. Mm-hmm. Shall we start with Lost Without You? And
I'd love to.
From the beginning?
Yeah. So Lost Without You is such a funny one because I knew the moment I wrote it that it was going to change my life.
Wow.
And it was such an incredible, I just felt this gratitude and like relief because I've been writing songs since I was 9 years old, like obsessively. Alone, yeah.
Wow.
And I was 19 when I wrote that song.
Yeah.
And I was just going through one of the biggest heartbreaks, my first really big heartbreak. And also there was some stuff where I almost got signed and then I didn't. There was a lot of heartbreak happening simultaneously. And I just remember feeling like something has to change. Like I can't just keep waiting for someone to come and save me. Like I want to write a song that changes my own life. And so I just shut my eyes one day at the piano. I was writing a lot at that point. I think I was trying to show the publishing deal that they were offering me that I was ready, and they were like, you're not ready. I'm like, I am ready. And I'm also heartbroken as hell. Give me a shot.
Look how heartbroken
I'm
I
so
am.
heartbroken.
That I'm lost without you.
It was so funny because I turned back up with that song, and then they were like, sadly the person who was going to sign you was gone anyway, so it doesn't matter anymore. And I was like, but I tried really hard. And they were like, "Mwah." But that song came from a really deep, true place, and I
Yeah.
just feel like that was 10 years worth of work in one song. Like
Wow.
all those songs, like you must know that. It's like
Yeah.
you write songs every day for a decade. It's the 10 years to 10,000 hours, whatever it is.
Yeah.
I remember just being like, whoa, that came from somewhere different. And obviously like I doubted it over the years. Like I played it in open mic nights and like, you know, people would be like, cool.
It
I was
really
like,
pulls
maybe
you
it's-
into that emotion, that song.
It was just, it's so interesting that it's like the stories behind the song. It's like for me that song is a story. It's a literal like first person story and it's true and it's like, I'm still in awe of the way it's connected
So
with
maybe
people. I
walk
had no
us-
idea it was going to do that well.
Walk us
no
through
idea.
the song, through the lyric.
So I think the thing that, because I come from a sort of acting family, we're
Yeah.
quite like about, you know, film and TV, and it came
Yeah.
from quite a visual place of like physically putting yourself in a situation like standing on the platform.
Mm-hmm.
And I also realized that song only works if you have train stations in your world. I kind of thought about it like from the point of view of LA, like people don't really stand on the platform. No. But in Europe, there's train stations everywhere. And I grew up really close to a train station down the road. And for me,
It's such a great visual to start with.
I think it's like you just get those moments where you have to like grab people, and
Yeah.
I felt like it was a stream of consciousness that came out like fully formed, and I was like,
Beautiful.
thank you. I just felt so much. I still feel so much gratitude to my like 19-year-old heartbroken self, because she was so like, it wasn't like rock bottom, but I was like, something has to change.
So
like,
first verse, you're standing on the platform,
yeah,
and then
watching you go.
yeah,
Yeah, it's like no other pain I've ever known. The weirdest thing about this song is that it came from such a personal place that I couldn't even fathom anyone else even like resonating with it. I remember thinking, I was like, I think I love this song, but I have no idea if anyone else will.
wow,
But I thought, I was like, it felt like I'd reached a point of like honesty that I'd been trying to achieve for a long time.
it was your journal, like the page you don't want to share probably.
Exactly. I was almost like really scared to show people. I remember like, one of the times I played it was here on like a little keyboard.
Wow.
And the
Before
room
it
like
came out, before it came out.
years before it came out.
Years?
Like, yeah, maybe like 3 or 4 years.
Wow.
Because I would play that song around open mic nights around London, and people would be like, cool song. And I was like, they were like, do you have a recording? And I was like, no. And so eventually I was like, I really need to record this song.
Yeah.
I'm just so grateful to it, because it opened the doors to everything else. And it's
Yeah.
crazy. I mean, you know, it's crazy how a 3-minute song can change your life.
Oh yeah.
It's actually crazy. Yeah. I feel very, very lucky. But I think for me, another thing of that song that I love is like the dialogue of like speaking to someone and them speaking to you back.
Yeah.
And the fact that you can love someone so much and still let them go because you know that's the right thing for them
Yeah.
is so bittersweet is the word, but it is that feeling of just like, you really do adore someone, but you really can't be with them anymore. And it's like, the pain of that doesn't leave you. It stays, you know? But the song now is like a whole other thing for me, where I get messages like daily, like a lot of messages from people being like, I use this for my parents' funeral, or like my best friend like left, or my, you know what I mean? Like they put it into their own grief and their own lives. And that is just such an honor that I just didn't think that was going to be part of this experience, but
Yeah.
I've just been honored that it has been.
Amazing. And then, so you had the song written, and then tell me the journey from it becoming one of the biggest songs.
So I had a friend I went to the Brit school
Yeah.
from the ages of 16 to 18. And I had a friend who I hadn't spoken to in 3 years called
Yeah.
Russell. And he was working as a junior A&R. He had just got scouted for this record label, independent record label. And they were all sat around in an A&R meeting, and everyone was like, you got any ideas anymore? We've run out of ideas. And he's like, I think I've got a friend from school who you should meet. And
Yeah.
I was like, thank you, Russell. I gave him a bottle of champagne the day that I signed that record deal, because I was like, thank you so much. Because I didn't have any other offers. I'm not even joking. Like, I made it sound like I did to them, but
Wow.
I really didn't. And I just remember some of the other meetings I'd had, they'd be like, well, send us a demo and like, we'll get back to you.
Yeah.
And this meeting, I was like, right, I don't have any demos. I'm just going to have to be like, do you have a piano? Can I play you one song? And that's what I did. I
Wow.
was in Tile Yard Cafe in King's Cross,
Yeah.
talking to the A&R at the record label.
Yes.
And he's like, so what do you want to do? And I was like, I want to play you one song.
Yeah.
And he's like, bold. So we went up to the offices, and we sat, I think it was Tom Waits's like old sort of like piano where the sustain wasn't working.
Whoa.
And I played it on a very soft, beautiful Tom Waitsy piano. And I was like, that's my song.
Yeah.
And they were like,
Were you nervous?
I was so nervous. I remember being like, this is it. Because I just knew I tried so many different things over so many different years and nothing had worked.
Yeah.
But I was really into visualizing and manifesting at that point. I'd visualized this and I was like, it's going to happen. And then they were like, yeah, come back and you can record a demo of it. And I worked.
It's funny, like sometimes while you perform, it's this feeling where all the stars align and you just have chills and you feel so connected with everyone in the room. It's magic, right?
Yeah. And
did you have that feeling?
I just knew that these were the right people. Like they were this small sort of like guerrilla team, and like I knew by the end of working with them, I knew the name of every single person around that table, and I loved that feeling of like we're all working together to like against the odds. You know, it's David and Goliath, and we were like. And
you feel everything
little.
Makes sense somehow.
It felt
suddenly.
So right, and I'd been craving of working with a team for so long, and they really took a bet on me. You know, they really did, and I still appreciate it to this day.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then walk us from there to Castles.
So the story of Castles is after I got signed and I was making these demos in this tiny little cupboard room.
Yeah.
It's so funny because Lewis Capaldi was in the cupboard room down the hallway and I could hear him singing and me singing. And I was like, I really hope that we get to do this for our jobs because we really want this.
Yeah.
But it was like these tiny little box rooms.
Was that before Lewis was famous?
Yes. This was like, everyone was like coming up. It was like me, Sam Fender, Lewis Capaldi, like we all saw each other all the time at these other stuff. And I loved watching them grow as like people and performers. And I was just a massive fan.
Sam Fender is so incredible.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Like one of my favorite artists.
And you.
I feel like it's so rare to meet people where you're like, you're a fan, but you also like connect on such a like, you're doing the same thing with your life and you have the same trials and tribulations and you can really like understand each other.
Yeah, you have the same values and the same goals and
it is,
you live
the same
for
goal.
the same emotion.
Exactly. And the same like obsession with songs and like connecting.
Yeah.
And so the story with Castles was they sat me down and they were like, so we've booked you a trip to LA. And I was like, LA? I was like, I've never left my hometown. I haven't gone anywhere before. And they were like, you're going for 3 weeks. I was like, 3 weeks? Oh, wow. And I was very intimidated, very scared to leave home because I'd never even like been to university. Like I just, you know, I'd done shows around London, but that was it. And so I got on the plane with a girl from the label and we literally spent 3 weeks in LA and it was amazing. And I did all these sessions for the first time, met all these incredible people.
Yeah.
And one of the sessions that we did was with an incredible producer and writer called Dan Nigro, who is now one of the biggest songwriters and producers in the world. He works with Olivia Rodrigo and Chappell Rowan, but at the time he hadn't worked with either of them. Wow. And my A&R was like, you're really going to get on with Dan. I was like, okay, I will. And I remember I kind of underestimated because LA is really big. And I was like, I could walk. And I literally ended up walking up this hill and it was like
you cannot do that.
Steep. You know how steep it is.
And there's no sidewalks.
There's no sidewalks and it's just a massive mountain. And I got there like sweaty as hell and I was like, hello Dan, I'm really hot. And he was like, okay, we'll get you like a lemonade and you just like chill out for a second. I was like,
get the sweaty girl out of here.
Exactly. He was like, oh my God. But we ended up writing a song. Well, I remember when he chose some chords and I was like, I really like those chords. And it was really, really interesting because I'd had the idea for Castles a couple of years before, which is so interesting.
The lyric idea.
The lyrical idea of
Beautiful
like,
idea.
What if you could like flip the Disney princess thing on its head and like rebuild your own castles out like, because that's
out of the rubble. Yeah.
That's what
so
I stand for. Like I stand for like in those like heartbreaking moments, like rebuilding yourself and showing them like that's my rocket
when you
fuel.
have heartbreak, you really have heartbreak
Exactly.
and you really suffer and you
and you really like use it as fuel to grow and to frankly show them that you are more than they thought that you were. And I still to this day love that. And I think living well is the best revenge. And I think if someone has hurt you or betrayed you or underestimated you, then you can show them. And I still think that that's maybe why that song resonates with people is because I believe it.
Yeah.
But so when he played those chords, suddenly the idea came right back to me and I was like, whoa, okay. And actually really funny, but kind of embarrassingly, I'd watched a YouTube video which was talking about like Taylor Swift writing like song tips. I'm a massive Swiftie, always have been since I was like 12. I went to all her original shows.
Yeah.
And there was one and it was like, how many notes in a row can you get? And it was like, da, 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 da. And I remember being like, I should sing da, 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 like in a row. And I was like, cool. And then I did that. And it was like, the weird thing is like, if Lost Without You was completely subconscious and like not thinking at all, Castles was like, I thought about it. And I was like, I want it to be like, even though the original idea had been like, I think Castles was just a lot more sort of like man-made, which sounds dark, but it
Yeah.
comes from such a true place that I don't think it could detract from the
Well,
truth.
maybe the intuitive part was when you found the lyric.
True, I think, and that was like as I was falling asleep in that like theta wave, alpha state. Like
Yeah.
that was the moment.
The what
Actually,
state?
the alpha state. I think like as you're falling asleep, you go into that like in between
Oh,
dreams.
I like that.
thing.
Also probably when like in a good massage or
Exactly, like when you're really relaxed and you go into those like waves where it's not like Einstein theory. He'd fall asleep with like what is it, coins in his hand.
Oh.
And when he dropped them, he'd wake up and have like an idea.
really? I've
Like
never
on the
heard
edge
that.
of sleep or something.
Wow.
Anyway, my dad loves to talk about stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was like on the edge of sleep I came up with that idea. So it came from that deep, true place.
Mm-hmm.
And it was built over years. And kind of like Lost Without You was as well. I feel
Yeah.
like some of these songs, they like sit in the back burner for years, just like brewing.
Yeah.
And then they'll come out at the right moment and you're like, I knew you were in there the whole time. But if I'm honest, like I didn't know that song was going to be successful at all.
Mm.
Like I had no idea. The original demo, I was like, it's cool. But especially because we wrote the pre, it's like, hate that you're gone and I hate that I don't.
Yeah,
that
I
was
like
the
that.
chorus, right? So I thought that was the chorus and I thought it was going to be called like hate that you're gone or whatever. And I flew all the way back to the UK and my A&R at the record label was like, you can write a better chorus than that. And I was like, can I now? And I got really fired up and I was like, send me back out there. I'm going to write you a better chorus.
Wow.
And I went back out there and the idea for Castles finally kind of like came out
Flew
fully
all the way
formed.
up for 8 bars.
I literally did.
Yeah.
I did. And I flew all the way else and we did a second session on it. And then I attached the two worlds together and Hate That You're Gone and Castles became the same song.
Wow.
And then the demo was done, but I was like, don't know if anyone's going to hear that, but I love it. It's cool.
So after the hate that you gone part, you just went back to the verse originally.
Pretty much, yeah. I think the original demo is somewhere, but I just remember being so fired up that someone had said that I needed to
Yeah.
do better. I was like, I'll do better. And actually, now I look back, that's the common denominator between both of my hits. Well, because it was people telling me to do better, and I was like, I will.
Yeah, wow.
So I think sometimes, like, coming from a family of actors, like, I work well with direction. When people tell me to do
Yeah.
better, I try to. So, yeah.
So you want perfection. You're probably tough with yourself as well.
I think I am quite harsh on myself when it comes to, I'm trying to be better at it. And I'm trying to like be more accepting of the mud and
Yeah.
then sieving for the gold after instead of just being like only gold. Because then you kind of shut down a bit and no one can do that.
You gotta enjoy
So-
the mud.
Exactly.
mud
Enjoy
bath.
like
Yeah.
being a pig, just like rolling around in the mud.
That's such
Just
a
like,
great analogy.
Thanks. Well, I come from a pig themed family in a way. So it's kind of
How
nice.
is that?
My dad does a voiceover for a kids TV show where they are a family of pigs.
That is so funny.
So that makes more sense
Uh-huh.
to me. Yeah.
And your mom writes the narrative?
No, not for that show. No, but she's a fantastic writer, actually.
So what's it called, the show?
So the show's called Peppa Pig.
Peppa Pig.
Yeah.
Anyone heard of Peppa Pig?
I think it's borderline all right, successful-wise. But
That's incredible.
yeah, it's so lovely, like seeing the impact it has on like little kids and like
Yeah.
my dad is the voice of Peppa's dad, Daddy Pig. So yeah, come from a kind of pig-based family. So
That's so
that
funny.
analogy makes more sense.
The last time you came to LA, we went to the beach house.
Oh my God, thank you so much. So last time we were in LA, Toby invited me to your incredible beach house in Mexico. That was amazing. And you drove us down there because we didn't have a car.
Yeah.
And it was like us and Matisse, your beautiful rescue dog,
Yeah.
on our lap the whole way. And we had the best time. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, we rode by the fireplace and
Beautiful fireplace. You're like the king of views. I feel like all of your houses have like the best view I've ever seen in my life.
I love that.
Yeah.
So, one of the recent songs you have out is Weekends. Mm-hmm. Can you tell me that story?
So Weekends is an even funnier one for me.
Okay.
I find like the story
I love
so
these
interesting.
stories. I live for these stories.
So the thing about Weekends was I wrote it as a ballad, as like
Oh.
a sad ballad. And I remember when I wrote it kind of like a cappella without any instrument.
And
which
you were fucking lonely.
I was so fucking lonely. And it was the moment where I conceptualized that song was when I got my first disc for Lost Without You.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd been so busy and so heartbroken and sort of like cutthroat with my life that I sat in a bar in King's Cross with this disc and I had literally no one to call. And I was like,
That's hard to believe. You and no one to call.
no,
How's that?
genuinely. And it was like on all the, the work people, they go home to their like their own people, And I was just sat there being like, oh, I have severely underestimated how important, these relationships are to me, especially like romantic ones. At the time, I was like, I don't need no romantic
Yeah.
relationships. I'm going to do this myself. And then I was like, actually having someone who's like been on this journey with you, it means the world, and like it grounds you and it humbles you in the like just the best way. And I think those moments where like it's people say about grief, like it's the good moments that hurt almost more than the bad, because when you want to call someone and tell them the good news and you can't, you're like so that's what Weekends was kind of, that's the feeling of Weekends.
So walk us through it.
So yeah, I wrote it a cappella about me sitting at the piano on a Friday night and thinking that my ex thought that I was out like raving it up with all these like cool people. I was not. I was like crying into my teacup, just like like so lonely that I couldn't even like describe. And I think it was like the juxtaposition of the two worlds, just how like you could look like you're in front of thousands of people, like you literally have thousands of friends, and like 10 minutes later be on your own in a dressing room, just like silence. And I just think the two, like the dissonance of those two worlds, I was like, no one knows this. Like, well, I know they do, but I was like, I need to tell people this is, or tell this person, and you know, my ex, this is how I feel. I was like, I'm not this completely star-spangled person. I'm actually really struggling, and it's like, and really missing them. And yeah, that's what that song
I heard a version where you just sing it without track, and it's just a cappella. It's so strong.
And if I'm honest, the a cappella version is still the one that like I feel the most connected to, because the production of that track, I know that we're not really allowed to say this, but it's not my favorite production in the world.
You can say it. You can say whatever you want.
I kind of, it was the first time I ever got really pressured into doing a production that I didn't like. And so to this day, I'll change up the production for live. I'll do it completely different. Like on Graham Norton, I did like live brass, live drums, live vocal. Like I did everything live.
Live brass.
Yeah, I had like the best time reworking that, just to be a bit more me, because like I'm an organic girl in my heart, and I think that production was like very, very pop to the point where I was like uncomfortable. But the label at the time didn't really care, and I was like, cool, I will learn from this mistake and I will amend it.
Hey guys, thank you so much for watching. We truly appreciate it. I'm excited to announce that we are launching a Patreon. This will be a place where you can find out about our upcoming guests, where you can get exclusive access to BTS footage, like for instance a walk through Greg Wells' studio. You can even submit your own questions that we're going to ask in the podcast. That's going to be so much fun. By joining this community, you can help tell the stories behind some of the biggest songs in music history. Thank you for your support. It really does mean everything, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the episode. Hope to see you there. So what's on your playlist?
What's on my playlist? I love Hosier, Tom Odell, Michael Kiwanuka, and Florence and the Machine. Like they are my four big ones. I feel like I can always listen to any of their songs and be really happy.
And if you want to just put on music to relax or to not work, what do you listen to?
So this is funny actually. There's a song, Michael Kiwanuka song called Love and Hate, and there's a live version of it. And if I get like overwhelmed when I'm on a plane or like traveling, I will listen to it like on repeat. And it kind of like calms me down.
Yeah.
Like it makes me feel way less anxious, and I sing along and I'm like ba-da, ba-da, ba-ba, ba-da, ba, ba-da, ba-da. I love him so much. He's actually a North London boy as well. He was born and raised down the road, well, down that road. But
what makes North London special?
I think North London's really special. Like, you know, Adele was born in Tottenham down the road, I think in a similar same hospital to me, which is crazy. And Amy Winehouse was born like up the road in Southgate.
Have you met them?
No, I never got to meet Amy Winehouse, and no, I've never got to meet Adele. I would love to meet her one day.
Bucket list item.
Literally, I feel like Taylor Swift, Adele, and Beyonce. Love them, Holy Trinity. But there is something about North London. I think there's the ancient ley lines here.
Oh, wow.
And like it's where like clay meets something. Energetically, there is something. I know Florence is a South London girl, but just in general, I think London is really special. It's the perfect mix of like melancholy and sadness. And then there's just enough light to give you hope as an artist.
What is a clay line?
It's where like two different kinds of soil, it's like a geography thing, meet, but apparently they're like ancient spiritual ley lines, like these magical, there's a river called the New River.
Do you know where they are?
I don't, but there was a map that I saw once, and it's not here, but it's really close to here.
They probably cross under your house.
No. Yeah, we grew up in a, modest flat, but yeah, it's a special area. And I think honestly, like the North London music scene, like Ed Sheeran came to North London and played with a lot of the open mic night guys that I played with, and I just think there's a lot of support and love for like singer-songwriters here, like kind of like there is like in Germany or in Ireland, like that London has this special heart for singer-songwriters.
So much.
It's special.
Probably a little slower here than central London too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And there used to be more nights to play at, and there's less now, which is actually really heartbreaking because I don't know how up and coming songwriters are. I mean, obviously there's like TikTok, but I think
Yeah.
performing your songs in front of people,
It's
like
so
face to
important.
face,
Yeah.
is critical.
And I feel it gets more important now with social media world that you connect with the real
I
people.
completely agree.
And especially now with AI interfering, I think
God, I can't even comprehend that.
seeing a real human one-on-one, there's so many more senses that we have
Yeah.
that just you feel things that you would not see on a screen.
Exactly. I think
Yeah.
feeling it is the word. It's like you can literally get the biofeedback of being in front of a person and feeling what they feel
Yeah.
about your song. It's like, it's so
Yeah, and then your
powerful.
feelings affect the performance and it goes back and forth and it
Yeah.
fuels each other. And
Yeah.
now you have an incredible evening just by being there.
Yeah, literally. It's like every time that I get to play live, it just reminds me how special it actually is. I'm like,
Yeah.
this is, it's really special. Yeah.
Do you think you can manifest the future?
I wouldn't say that I think that, but I would say that I do believe in, like, I'm not religious, but I had my mum's friend was training to be a life coach when I was like 20, 21.
Yeah.
And I was like giving up music. I was like, I found it really hard and I can't do this. This is too hard. I care too much and it's not working.
Yeah.
And she was like, could you be my guinea pig? And I can, do my life coach training on you. She's called Kelly. She lives down the road. She's the best. And she was like, I was like, yeah, everything's going wrong. That's it. And she's like, what would it look like if it went right? And I was like, can't even comprehend that. But I guess it would look like getting to play a headline show at St. Pancras Old Church, which is a little church in King's Cross. And I get to play a red Nord keyboard and I get to play my album and people would come. And then I'd also get to tour like down the west coast of America. And she was like, that sounds really possible. And so she made me shut my eyes and visualize like how it'd feel,
wow.
what it was, she made me, and it was really scary. And I cried.
And
I was
all
like,
that happened.
it happened like frame for frame. The exact thing happened.
Wow.
And then she was sat there in the audience at St. Pancras Old Church watching me play a Red
Wow.
Nord, play my music. And we were both just like, whoa. Because literally, but like 6 months
Yeah.
or a year before, I'd been like, I literally can't do it. And so to go from that to like signed and selling out headline shows was
So
just
you
like
reached your lowest point just before
really, really
incredible
low.
things happened
Really
for you.
low. And I
That's
think
so
that was
often
the
case.
springboard.
Yeah, it's so often that you're
Yeah.
just about to give up and it's just this little extra mile
Yeah.
and that suddenly, wow, everything
Darkest
opens
Before
up.
the Dawn. It
Yeah.
really like shocks me every single time. I'm like,
Crazy.
wow, that really, it was a moment to bounce back.
So what would you want to manifest now?
So I have a vision board.
Okay.
It's in the attic, kind of like Dorian Gray. But for me, I think really just getting to love what I do on a daily basis and getting to be in momentum and flow and like, play the Pyramid stage at Glastonbury and like have my next album, like connect with people and just like go back to that like empowered,
Universe, listen.
joyful, like that feeling that I know what it's like to like be myself authentically on a record and on stage and connect with like thousands of people and feel that like there's nothing that I love more than to share the truth and the vulnerabilities of my own life and feel it connect in others and feel
Yeah.
and like being there for other people. Like I make music to kind of make myself feel better, but then ironically it ends up helping other people by accident, and that is the best byproduct of this job. And it's
So it's
like
therapeutic, it's self-therapy and then
it is. I always say it's like therapy, but it's not therapy. Like I started doing therapy and I was like, I think songwriting is like, it's important to do alongside therapy.
Yeah, was the songwriting therapy better than the real therapy you were doing?
Potentially. I think there's more of like, I think it's just connection. I think
Yeah.
it's like you get to connect with people and like, it's the opposite of small talk. It's like you suddenly go to your deepest
You
place.
share something
You
very intimate.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so sometimes it is like really scary. Like when you record music and you put it out,
Yeah.
that leap of faith where it goes from being like in your chest to outside in the world
Yeah.
feels petrifying. It's like sitting on the edge of a plane, but the second you're out, you're just flying.
Yeah,
You
and
just
then
feel so free.
I wonder when you write a song about your darkest moments and then you are going on tour and every night you have to revisit your darkest moments on
Yeah.
that song. If that becomes a hit, you're locked into your darkest
But
moments.
it's so interesting because Lost Without You was like one of my darkest moments.
Yeah.
But now I just feel so much like gratitude and power every time I play it. And I can almost like, it takes me back to that moment, but I play it like to my 19-year-old self, like with
Wow.
a kind of like a respect and like almost like arms round her, kind of being like, we got this. Like,
Yeah.
so to me, it doesn't feel as sad as it did in that moment because I never knew if anyone was going to hear it in that moment. But when
Yeah.
there's like thousands of people singing it with me, I'm like, we're safe. We did it, you know? Like, I think the only fear is, it's kind of easy when a song becomes a hit because you're like, you just, all the fear dissipates and you're allowed to be like, I always promised myself, I was like, if I was ever lucky enough to have like a hit songs, that I would never resent playing them live ever, because they are like the key, the gatekeeper to connecting with people and getting to do this thing that I love so much.
What else would you say to your 10-year-old self?
I did think this the other day, because there's like that TikTok trend. It's like I went for coffee with my younger self.
Oh.
I think she would be quite gobsmacked. But in another way, I think she'd be quite like, we did it. Like, she really dreamt of this, like really, really dreamt of this, but she was so shy and she was so like, you know, hiding behind her hair and wearing her parka on stage because she didn't want to take it off. And I think she'd be proud.
Was your childhood happy or lonely or sad or introverted or what was it?
Kind of a mix of all of those things.
Yeah.
I think like a lot of artists and writers, like there's an element of like pain and isolation that we crave this connection with people because we had that.
Yeah.
And I love, like, me and my family are so close, like to the point where like they are like my best friends to this day. Like I'll go around like every couple of days and we'll just like sit around the kitchen table and just
dream
chat.
child.
And I'll like bring over some cooked dishes. My mum will like bake and it will just be lovely. And I think that level of support and camaraderie is everything to me. But going to school, like I was very isolated and bullied and like ostracized, and that it threw me.
Why bullied? How would anyone want to bully you?
Like I was taller, I'm like a redhead, I was like quite big, I was just different, you know. And the kids don't like things that are different. They're like, you're weird, and I'm like, okay. And I was very shy and the dyslexia didn't help, and I would try really hard, but it felt like I was friends with all of my parents' like actor friends.
Yeah.
They were all older and they thought I was like really cool, and I'd like chat with them when I was little. I'd be like, la, la,
what a
la.
juxtaposition. You go to school and they say mean things and you go home and you're
And I think that's
the greatest.
Exactly. And my dream was always to kind of like, I kind of went into my shell at school a bit, and like I put on like a lot of weight, and I was like, it was almost like a physical defense against the world. I kind of like
a shield, like a buffer.
A shield, yeah. And I always knew when I left school, it would just like, I would lose all the weight and I would just like a butterfly, like chrysalis, I'd come out of it and I'd
what
just
an
fly.
analogy. I love that.
And I knew that would happen because my parents kept that.
It's like a cocoon.
Exactly.
Amazing.
They kept that like childlike spark of joy and like they kept it alive in me, and they kept supporting me, and they were like, don't give up, like you can do this. Like I just think they're the most incredible parents ever. And I think, you know, just like the way you're raising your beautiful daughter May, it's like I see the similarities of just like, it's just that gentle like encouragement but belief, like you just believe, you're like, you're amazing, and then you rise to it. And I think having that kind of parenting,
it's mostly my wife doing the work,
but Lee as well, like no, between the two of you, I think it's the same as my dad. He would go to work a lot, but I saw that and I respected him so much for it, that he could create these incredible like films and TV shows just out of like getting on a plane and learning some lines. And he just like, he gave a lot of his soul, you know, to art, and he loves creativity. It's his biggest thing. So yeah, I think it did make a big difference.
That's incredible. What would be some tips you would like to share with someone who's just starting out and who wants to sing and who wants to be like you?
Okay, this is such a good question. I've always kind of wanted to be asked this question, and then when I do, I'm like, oh my God, what would I say? Okay, so I think for me, like my dad, like had a lot of books on songwriting, which sounds like crazy. It sounds counterintuitive, but like you can't learn it. You can. And he had all these books from America that you had to get imported overseas. Like, who was it? There's a couple of really, really brilliant books. I'll put them in if you have a link or something.
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
Robin Fredericks, there was a great book like How to Write Hit Songs, or Pat Patterson, there was another great. Anyway, I super dyslexic, couldn't read them. He would read them to exactly. Yeah. He would like read them to me at the kitchen table, and he'd be like, "This is what makes a great verse. This is what makes a great chorus. Like this is what." And this is the thing. Like it sounds like limiting, but I actually found it very freeing. Like you say with like a puzzle, it's like these are the rules of the puzzle. Try and like he would always say like how one like a big ballad would be like the most incredible feeling in the world. And I was like, how would you do that? Like how did other people do that? And I think I was always in awe of like, I think going to open mic nights and watching people sing the greats, like the great songs, because I was like, what makes this person with a beautiful voice singing a beautiful song, what makes them here, and the person who wrote that song in a stadium or an arena, like what's the difference? And the difference is writing the song.
Yeah.
And that's what hit me like a truck. I was like, if I want to do this,
Yeah.
I'm going to have to write one of those songs.
Yes.
And it's going to be fun. And
Yes.
it's going to be
It has to.
emotionally, difficult at times, but I'm not going to give up until I do.
Yeah.
And I really thank them for that knowledge, because without it, I think I would have struggled. And my dad said, you've got a great voice, Freya, and that's actually a problem. It could become a hindrance because you could sing anything and make it sound good. And I'm like, yeah, that's good, right? And he's like, not necessarily, because the song is like king, like the story is like, it's narrative, it's like, myth, it's connection. And like, better than anyone, and all the great songwriters you've spoken to, it's like, it's the people who realize that that's where the power is. If you can write your own destiny, you're free.
That is amazing. I still keep thinking about your analogy of the chrysalis, and in your school years, having a lot of weight, having a shield, and
physically,
and almost like using this as your, like knowing that you'll come out of this at some point.
I did.
That is
really
incredible.
Weird.
Like,
I knew.
You're going through this in a time where you don't have to be the picture perfect person, because eventually you'll break out of this, and it's just part of the bigger plan. That is so cool.
Thank you.
And I think it's so inspiring for a lot of kids who think right now they have to be perfect. They have to be like the girl on Instagram. And
oh no, that's too, like, even thinking like that is like, it's too much pressure just to like.
It's the story of the lives of so many teenagers, I think. And
I know.
just to know that you were consciously going through this, knowing that in the bigger picture, you were going to come out as a butterfly.
Yeah.
You did.
Yeah. It's like you say with the manifesting, is sometimes it's just knowing what's going to happen. You're like, I don't know how I'm going to get there, but I have a feeling and I know what it's going to feel like. And it was a really difficult time in my life. Like, I was really big and I was really isolated, and I had the love of my family, but not a lot of love from anywhere else. And I was like, didn't have many friends, or it was just a difficult time. But I used that time to go to the piano rooms after school and just write. And I would go home and I'd lift up the mattress off the floor, because we were literally mattresses on the floor for a bit, and I would dance with my iPod and I would write, and I was trying to change my energy and the momentum. And I think like dancing in my bedroom or like writing songs, like it changed the momentum and the energy in my life.
Yeah.
And
we should write that song, Dancing in My Bedroom.
no, I literally wrote a song called Dancing
already?
in the Kitchen. No, I wrote it with Benjamin Leftwich. Basically, we wrote a song exactly about that, about dancing in the kitchen at night, which was actually my parents'
I like the bedroom
kitchen.
better
Yeah.
for the dancing
I thought about
song.
calling it Dancing in the Bedroom, but I was like in between.
You can still change it.
But it's an interest. It's just funny to look back, because it was not a sure bet. It was actually quite a long shot. And
Did your parents help you with seeing the bigger picture?
I think watching like my dad's career, like I think from the outside, people see creative careers as like just up.
Yeah.
And I got to see the highs and the lows. And
That's what I love about this podcast too. I'm learning about so many careers where we think, wow, this started really quickly and they were suddenly famous. And it's so not true. For so many people, there were like years and decades of struggles and failures and almosts and coming back home to the parents' couch, moving back in with the parents.
Yeah.
Almost everybody. It's crazy.
I mean, I literally did live with my parents until I was like 26. Like I was like playing like Glastonbury, and then I would come home to sleep in my childhood bedroom, and I was like, I really need to move out. But I was just like, I knew that I wanted to like, I knew when it was going to be the right time, and I was just, it was so crazy that I just wanted to be with them for as long as I could.
Need more room for these wings.
Exactly. Yeah, it got pretty chock-a-block in there. But I think what it taught me was that you've got to ride it out, and you've got to love it for the highs and the lows, and you're not always going to be on an up, but you can always hold on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then just after the biggest low, you might have your biggest up.
Yeah.
Which is crazy to think, because when you're in it, you're like,
no,
I can't do this anymore.
Exactly.
I'm like, given everything. Why isn't the universe listening?
It's just like, it's not a linear career. And I think that's what I would say to people is like, I'm trying to like fall in love with the process so much more than the outcome, because I feel like the process is the only thing we actually have control over.
So true.
Outcome we actually have no control over. And so now I'm literally just trying to like really tune into my gut for every little decision and be like, does that feel like something I want to do?
So important.
Does it feel like aligned?
Yeah.
And if so, I'm like straight ahead. But there was a little period of time where things were going well, ironically, where I was like, yeah, I'll do something that doesn't feel right just because it sounds good. And I'm like, no, that's not what got me here. What
Yeah.
got me here was being authentic and true to myself.
It's such a big word. Authenticity is
Yeah.
such a big word.
Yes.
And it's a journey to get there.
Massive journey.
Yeah, you don't say, I want to be authentic, boom, I'm authentic. It's
No, it's almost like peeling back the the layers of like armor,
safety layers,
the safety
yeah.
layers of what you think makes you safe, or what you think
Yeah.
makes you right, or what you think makes you good.
And
It's
it
like
might
taking
take
it back,
time.
and being wrong,
Yeah.
and being like scared, and being vulnerable, and being like open. Like
accepting yourself, accepting
Yeah.
your limitations, accepting who you are, what makes you you,
yeah,
that makes you authentic.
I completely agree with you, and I think there is a lot of like self-acceptance you have to find to be a songwriter.
Yeah.
Because the outside world is harsh enough. You don't want to do it as well.
Yeah, you need to give yourself self-love consciously. It doesn't
Yeah.
come naturally.
No, true. I think that's a really big part of it. And then it's one of the reasons why last year when we moved to LA for
Yeah.
the year, why I wanted to move there was to like, work with the greatest writers in the world and like just see like what the difference is between
Yeah.
people working at different levels. And I think like gratitude and like
Yeah.
momentum and like, you and like Rick Knowles and like great people. It's like you guys love stuff, you have like
Yeah.
hobbies you love, you have people you love and things you love, and it's like you're always like giving and you're always thinking about ways that you can like, I don't know, like share and like give back.
Yeah.
And I think for me, like I think that's the most beautiful thing is when I talk to a lot of like creatively scared people, they're like, I could never like give that away, or I want 100% of that profit. Oh, I want and I'm always just like, what if you just gave it? Because it's like, no, or like we're only here for like a blink of an eye. Like you might as well just share it and connect. And yeah, there's vulnerability in that. People
Yeah.
could be like, we hate it. But if two people might be like, that's changed my life and I love it. Like
Yeah.
you might connect with those people. And I think it's worth putting your head above the parapet, no matter how scary that feels. So yeah, that was something I learned from you.
Yeah, you were 6 months in LA.
It was nine
9 months.
Yeah.
How do you compare living in LA with living in London?
I think in a lot of ways, like they're very different, but they're also kind of like sister cities. I think, they're both like people come to LA and London to make it like to make something of their dreams. Like, my parents came here in the 80s
Yeah.
with like, their rucksacks and a dream of becoming actors and lived on couches and they did it,
Yeah.
and I think it's getting a lot harder for creative young people to do it, which does like concern me greatly. Because I'm like, where's the next generation of great artists going to be like supported and given a voice?
Such a different world now.
It's such a different world, and
Yeah.
it just like it's kind of heartbreaking because the talent's obviously still there,
Yeah.
but the support even from the 80s till now is like completely different. So when it comes to LA, I think I'd never like gone to university or moved away, and I needed to like go somewhere where we didn't know anyone. I
Yeah.
had to make friends from scratch. I had to like go to places and be like, hi, I'm Freya. Like, I don't
Yeah.
know anyone here. And people were so kind and so welcoming. And I found that the people to be really genuine and really kind. And it is different. It's a different place, but I'm sure as you find moving from like Germany to LA, it's like Europe and America have different things,
Different qualities.
different
yeah. qualities.
qualities, but I think they're both worthy completely.
They both have an insane amount of talent.
Insane amount
Probably
of talent.
the most concentration of talent in the world
What?
for what we're doing. Is
London and LA?
London and LA.
I feel like true. I love going back and forth. I
Yeah.
think that's my dream is to go between, but London will always be my home.
Yeah.
But LA is an incredible place to write.
Which other artists are you inspired by?
Hosier. I love Hosier.
Have you met him?
I have. I supported him actually at, in Dublin in 2019. It was like right before the pandemic. It was the Christmas before the pandemic.
Yeah.
And getting to play in Dublin, like, his hometown in an arena. I was just like, when I was his first album tour, I saved up, at the time I was like being a childminder, I saved up all my childminder money and I bought all my friends tickets to come and see him because I was like, this
Oh.
song, Take Me to Church, is my
Yeah.
favorite song I've ever heard in my life.
So good.
And so for that to
Instant
be
classic.
his next album tour, for getting to play with him was just like, this is just getting to like support him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't. And then when we were staying in LA, his show was in town, but it was sold out, and I was like, I really want tickets, but I don't know how to get them. So I messaged him. I was like, he probably won't message back. And then he was like, of course, I'd love to
No
invite you, Freya. And I was like,
way. Oh my God.
and it was literally one of the best shows I've seen ever.
Wow.
And I think, like you're saying, that lyric-driven, authentic storytelling where like that person, their voice with that lyric is just them and it's true. And you're like just spellbinding.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Oh,
So
yeah.
we have a segment that's called Guess That Song,
Oh,
and the
yeah.
audience can guess along.
I love that.
I just don't have an instrument, so I will
you
try
gonna
to hum something.
I love that.
Da da da.
Is that all I get?
Yeah.
Wait, really? That's all I get?
Da da da.
Is there more or?
Okay, I'll give you one more.
Yeah,
note.
yeah.
Da 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 da.
Don't it always seem to go that you don't know what you got till it's gone? Oh,
Yeah.
I love that song.
It's what I first hated about LA is all the parking lots everywhere.
There is a lot of parking lots. Well, they all drive. That's their
Yeah.
thing. Yeah.
Well, you were good.
Oh, thanks. I
Okay,
like
another
this.
one.
Okay.
Da da. No. Da 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 da.
I might need more. That's a lot of. Like, I have more? Just one more?
Da 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 da.
Da, 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 da. That really is confusing me. Da, 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 da. I don't know. I feel like there's so many songs that start like that.
It's two words, the name, and one is a color, and the other one's an animal.
Color animal. Oh, God. No, I've gone blank. What is that song? I don't know.
It's actually a non-color.
A non-color. White. No. Black.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Black?
Yeah. And then an animal.
Da,
Da 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 da.
da.
Yeah.
Black.
Black. Da 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 da.
I want to say Panther, but that's not right, is it? That's a film. What is it?
Blackbird.
Blackbird.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Love night. Oh yeah, yeah. Da, 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 da. Yeah, my bad.
Such a beautiful song.
Yeah, Beatles. I love that
Na,
song.
na,
That song
na,
actually makes me really emotional when like Paul
Yes.
McCartney talks about it being like about, you know, civil rights and like young black women. I'm like,
Yeah.
it literally makes me cry. I'm like,
Yeah.
that is such a beautiful song to write. And then Beyonce putting it on her album, I was just like,
Yeah.
got chills. Yeah.
It's like when a song goes beyond just being entertainment, but it has a message that's
Exactly.
actually revolutionary.
Exactly. And it's like Dylan and like the Beatles, like they did that. They
Yeah.
actually did that with songs, which is
That's the next challenge. How do you write a song that is personal to you, that's your journal, but is revolutionary, and it unifies a
don't know.
generation for change?
holy moly.
That's a tall order.
I mean, I feel like Paris Paloma is doing it, like with her song Labor. I think like that song, when I hear it on TikTok, I'm like, it really like, you know, it sets a fire in terms of that like feminist like strength and like female kind of like camaraderie. I think she's doing it. I think it's coming back, you know?
It should, and I think we have a lot to rebel against
Exactly.
these days. and-
Politically and like, you know,
Yeah.
anthem wise, there's more popping up because you're right, there is more to say
Yeah, yeah.
than ever before. Yeah.
Da, 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 da.
Da, 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 da. That's actually quite hard. Da, 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 da. That like, not like Britney Spears.
Da, 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 da.
Da, 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 da. Like Pink.
It's okay. If a boat sinks, it goes under.
We were living
but
in
it's
the Yellow Submarine.
Yeah, you got that.
We're living, da, da, da. Yeah, okay.
Yellow submarine. Yellow submarine. I give you a one-word prompt, and you just say whatever comes to your mind.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, right, yeah.
Spirituality.
So weird. I kind of went like hope and butterflies. I was like, hopeful butterflies.
You can talk about butterflies first, and then spirituality.
I think it's strange because I wouldn't say I'm religious, but I would say I'm quite spiritual. And
So
I think
how do you define that?
I think like when I was younger, I would be like, I'd wish like to the trees, like with the wind going through the trees, and I'd be like, I wish for this thing. And
Isn't that the
obviously,
best sound ever? Like the
the wind-
swish.
here's
of
the swish
wind
through the trees. I was
leaves?
like, I
Oh
could
my
feel
God.
this like power, and I like, you know, it's just that seismic. It's something. It's there. It's like energy. It's like we're all, you know, electrical water beings, all like, you know, we can feel things, and I think. Yeah, spirituality does, like, it fascinates me, and I have so much to learn about it. And like my sister-in-law has literally like been a monk at the top of a you know, a Nepalese temple, like in a silent retreat for like months. Like I've never done anything
Months.
to that level, but I feel like music, there is a spiritual element to music. And I think, you know, playing in lots of beautiful churches and like the reverb, and you know, we all congregate now to sing like
Yeah.
we used to go
Yeah.
to church, I guess,
Yeah.
in the past, and now we all go to arenas and we just sing these songs, and there are
Yeah.
new, like, you know, Coldplay, there are new hymns for the modern times.
Yeah.
And so I think for me, spirituality is like, it's so personal and it's always a journey, but music is a big part of it, and I'm trying to lean more into that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2050.
2050, oh my god, so that's like 25 years.
Since this is the
Wow.
first quarter century now,
I like
2025.
it. So I would be, that's 25 years. So I'd be like 50, 55, which I think is a lucky number.
Mm-hmm.
It's 5 is lucky in the Chinese calendar, so I'm like double lucky.
Uh-huh.
I think by that point in life, I really hope like we're all okay and that everyone still gets to, look after themselves and their families. And like, I would still love to be doing this job. Like I said, it's my dream to be like still playing the Royal Albert Hall when I'm like 70. Like that would make me so happy. Like, the way like Carole King does, or like the beautiful greats. Like if I was lucky enough to do this for that long, I would put like, like Elton John, or like just people who just get to keep doing it. I think the joy is in doing it. So yeah, I'd love to have a family by then and to have some like grown up children, and to like your beautiful children. It's like hopefully they're living their best life, and I'd love that.
Happiness.
And also I think just like growing in confidence, like creatively, and just never stopping learning, and like grateful and
that's
being
a big
brave.
word. Confidence is a very big word. Let's do confidence.
Confidence is a word I've been thinking about a lot recently, because I think it ebbs and flows. There were times like at 25, I felt so confident. I felt on top of the world. And then, through COVID, like I think I lost a bit of confidence, and I was a bit like second guessing myself. And
COVID was such a time where everybody rethought everything and reinvented themselves.
Exactly. I'm always fascinated by if I think or feel something, that I'll say it to a friend or I'll say it to some people, and they'll be like, I've been feeling that exact thing too. And like, I do think there's like a shared, like conscious, like a hive mind that we all have. And I think we don't realize how much we feel what other people feel. Like we're all so unique, but there is something like I think that's why songs, like we all sing the same songs, being like, we all feel the same deep down.
That feeling when we sing together is when you
beautiful.
sing with strangers.
It's the best feeling.
Talking to strangers is such a big one for happiness, I feel.
They call it vitamin S, and I'm obsessed with vitamins and health, as I know you are. And basically they were like, so in the olden days, you'd like go to the butcher and like the baker, and you'd say hello to each individual person. And then supermarkets were like, you'll go to one supermarket, and you won't say hello to
and it's a machine
five
checking
different...
out, so you're not going to speak at all.
And this is the thing that I'm genuinely like, I feel so grateful to have a family who sit around the kitchen table and like we talk, and even to this day I'm like, whatever phones or like AI are doing to us, I'm like, we need to have a conversation. And I've been making an effort to like go to my local shop and be like, hey,
more than ever,
hello,
more than ever.
Because it's like, it's those like walking past someone on the street and they give you a little like, hey, like, I think that gives us more health than we think it does, and gives us more like groundingness.
Failure.
So scared of it, but also kind of grateful to it, because I think I'm letting go of the idea. I think failure is stopping. I don't think you can fail. I don't think you can. I think you either learn or you grow like through it, and then you come out the other side. And I'm trying to reframe. I think the only real failure is like not being yourself, or like doubting yourself to the point where you self-sabotage.
Letting yourself down.
Yeah. But also like just giving yourself like the grace to be like, you're human. Like you're allowed to, like you were saying about the self-compassion, like being kind to yourself, is I feel like that journey has gone hand in hand with like external success. I feel like the more I am like truly like my own friend, and the more like I write my journal at night, which I've done for the last 15 years of my life.
It's such a big one. Journal writing is self-therapy, and also is you're getting all these thoughts out, you find clarity, you write it 5 times, and you know what you're going to do.
And it's there, and it's real. And it's also like you're turning up for yourself like a friend would, and you're like checking in on yourself, being like, how was today? Like,
yes, that's
especially
a big
when it comes to like overcoming like addiction of any kind, like, whether that's like emotional eating or drugs or alcohol, it's like turning up for yourself and just like, being kind to yourself. It's actually harder than it looks.
Big one. Okay, the last minute now, I'm going to ask you this or that questions, and you just say this or that.
Okay.
So, mountains or oceans?
Oceans.
Hiking or biking?
Hiking.
Oh. Prince or Michael Jackson?
Ooh, Prince.
Okay. Movie theater or home movies?
I like the movie theater.
Okay. Summer or winter?
Summer.
Water or wine?
Water.
Salad or steak?
Steak and salad, please.
Mars or Earth?
Earth.
Clearly.
Try living on Mars. There's
You'd
no
be surprised.
venues on Mars.
I get the Mars answer quite a bit.
Do you?
Yeah. I'm like baffled.
But there's like nothing there at the moment.
Nothing. We can't breathe.
You can't even breathe.
Yeah.
You lost like...
There's radiation. You can't be outside long. I mean, try to live in Death Valley for 3 years in a little pod.
Is that the same sort of vibe?
No, you can breathe in Death Valley.
Wow. That's an interesting one. I love space, but I don't think actually going or living on Mars would be...
Yeah.
Interesting.
Coffee or tea?
Tea.
Tea.
Green tea.
Cruise ship vacation or trekking, exploring vacation with a tent?
So funny because I've literally been on kind of neither. It's so funny. I've never been on a cruise, so I'll say a cruise, but I like a tent. I'll do the tent one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. And books or movies?
Movies.
Oh, okay. And stoplights or roundabouts?
Well, stoplights are America and roundabouts are here. I feel like I've just conquered my fear of roundabouts. So I'm going to say roundabouts.
Yay!
Yeah.
I'm team roundabout.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being on my
Thank you
podcast.
for having me, Toby. It's
was
such
so
an honor.
fun.
I'm so glad we got to do this.
We did.
Thank you for coming to North London.
Yay.
Have a matcha. Makes me so happy.
Incredible matcha at the
Starfish loves coffee in North London.
Starfish Loves
It's the best.
Coffee
You
in
guys
North
have to come
London
here.
has
It's
the
so
best
good.
matcha.
It really
Look at
does.
that. Amazing. Cheers.
Cheers. Little rose petals.
If you enjoyed this podcast, please like and subscribe. And if you listened on an audio platform, please give us a review. 5 stars would be unbelievable. And there's going to be another one on Tuesday. Goodbye.
Bye.